Welcome to Blubbr's Bulletin, where I am going to be showing you some cool things going on in the Live2D space recently. Yay! Alright, so first, you should be on Twitter. That's like rule number one if you're doing like Live2D things. There's a lot of it that's on Twitter. Most of it's on Twitter, and honestly, I think the saddest part about it all being on Twitter is literally the fact that it's all on Twitter. Like, bro, if you want to see tutorials, assets, like learning models, it's all there. So I'm gonna go through it. The links for everything will be down in the description, and if you are watching this live, I'm gonna be posting them in chat for you, so you can save them as well. Okay, first up, we have a head study file coming from Frenich, and it's got a lot of expressions, example head angles, really good separation, even a full mouth. Oh my gosh, high quality stuff. This, I think, is really cool because I would love to see more artists that work with Live2D riggers include the actual head angles that they would ideally draw their models at. When I make my pixel models, something I really like to think about is what it would just look like if I drew it as opposed to rigged it anyway. Because when you're rigging a model, you want to rig it for the artistic look of it, not necessarily just for depth. The depth will come when you try to rig it like the artist's actual artwork. Very cool. And speaking of more tutorial assets, we have a hair study file coming from Cutie Dragon, who makes a lot of other really great Live2D things that you should check out. And that's on their Ko-Fi. I really like how in their example for it, they showed skinning versus blend shapes versus no skinning and with blend shapes. There's so many different styles and effects you can get when rigging hair that I think it's really cool to get some practice in. Get those reps in. Not every experience point that you get from rigging has to come from models you've made yourself. So definitely check out this study file because I have a feeling it's very, very good. Next up, we've got some rigging tips, and we have Cutie Dragon delivering us even more Live2D tips. If you want even more Cutie Dragon Live2D tips, check out her hashtag on Twitter, CutieRigs, for even more educational Live2D things. This one specifically is looking at how to use a rotation deformer for editable roundy things, and this is honestly a really good tutorial because I think that rotation deformers are one of the most underused deformations in Live2D. The way that I do my pixel tails and all of that fancy shit, it's very heavily reliant on rotation deformers, and it's what gives it the juice. We have even more Live2D rigging tips from Kibu, and if you want more of their tutorials and educational things, check out their hashtag KibuRig on Twitter. This tutorial specifically is taking a look at how to make paths using deformers for objects. You can actually layer deformers on top of each other to create motion paths. You see a lot of people use motion paths for things like fire and other kinds of more complex animations, so this is definitely worth learning. Next, we've got a mini little showcase of glue and glasses coming from Hidu. They're showcasing how they use glue to connect the side of the frames to the ears and the glasses themselves. I find this super useful, but for me, when I'm rigging my pixel art, I try to go at it with the same shape as what it would look like when you turn, but I would usually move it based on segmented pixels, which makes it a little bit more complicated, but it's still like a similar technique. Glue is a Live2D must learn. Just kidding. Actually, I think you could actually get away with doing Live2D steps without really rigging, like without really learning how to use glue. Glue is like a completely optional thing. But anyway, we continue. Giving us even more banger head angles is Jupiter, showcasing this four-eyed rig that they've been working on. Super cool. They said that they used techniques from Kuroyama for the eyes to give them independent movement, and that is super cool. I will put the link for both this as well as Kuroyama's tutorial for rigging numerous eyes down below. I love the head angles too. The face shadow when the head moves, I feel like it adds so much more. But also another thing I realized with VTuber models is like, we don't have like the back of the head actually rigged in. We usually just rig the face at the front, like in front of the ears forward. And so there's not really any head back, but I guess you don't need the back of the head unless you're gonna have a bald toggle, in which case you probably would want like a full chrome dome rig. But I don't know, most VTubers don't really utilize bald like that. I love the horns, and the D20 is so cool. I keep watching it jiggle. It's so mesmerizing. And now we've got some super fascinating brows given to us by Misu Murasaki. You don't normally see VTuber models that contain actual brow bone movement. The way that the brows move and the way that she showcased them on the side angle is so clean. I thought this was so unique because you don't see it very often. To be fair though, the eyebrows are usually covered up by hair and whatnot anyway, so unless you actually have a hairstyle that will let that amount of your forehead be seen, I feel bad because it's like all that work for 2 pixels. It feels like that exact same thing. I hope that this gets seen. I mean, it has been perceived, okay? We have perceived it, but oh, I can't wait for the full rig. We have this really cool in-depth tail coming from Yoshino Art. Yoshino has made a ton, and I mean an absolute ton, of educational Live2D tutorials for beginners, so please, if you are super new to Live2D, check her out. They are super great for learning. I even learned using a lot of the videos that she made. A lot of her layering work inspires my layering work, so please do check her out. This tail is so fluid. I really wanted to talk about how with the physics, okay, you can't really see it because the dots are really small, but the physics, it seems like this tail is rigged with, what, 5 points for physics? So that means that the base is probably 1 parameter, and then you have it layering up throughout the tail. I rig my small model tails in a similar fashion. I found that grouping large chunks of the tail for each physics parameter works way better than using either one really big parameter that curls the entire tail and versus using a bunch of little parameters. It really depends on the effect you want to get for your tail, but this is so fluid. Mafi's showing off this really cool gun rig that they did. The layering for it is so smart, honestly. Thinking about the layering in terms of it being a 3D model is kind of the entire point of Live3D type rigs. I remember when I was rigging Kimono's gun toggle and I studied KVX Art's rig of one of the models he did where the gun was pointing, just so that I could wrap my head around how to rig it. Seeing it like this makes so much sense. I know for Kimono's gun toggle, I even drew out what all of the side angles would look like, so that way everything lined up in pixel art. Now let's take a look at some VBRIDGER action, because I think, even though I myself am not the greatest at rigging this complex mouth style, I think it's really important to look at because the mouth shapes in general are very, very visually appealing. So, this is a rig done by Shidomi. They use a 2x2 mount table for their base VBRIDGER movements, and then they rig all of the extra VBRIDGER parameters after that. It's very, very complex and very, very cool. They have 2 showcases here for it, and it looks so expressive. I absolutely love it. Most people usually use a 3x3 mouth for just base mouth rigging, but next we have a 3x4 mouth given to us by Hime from Eru Studio. While I will say a lot of VTubers really don't get the most use out of VBRIDGER, I think that the work that Live2D riggers put into it is so worth taking a look at and analyzing for how you would want to apply it to your own models. I know that when I was working on my own model, I wanted to add VBRIDGER because I wanted to make like a frumpy face where, like, you know, if something smells bad and you like upturn your nose, like, you know? I wanted to make that kind of expression, and using VBRIDGER, you're actually able to create that look by just making that facial expression. So even if, you know, you're working on your own model and you want to do VBRIDGER, play around with VBRIDGER as a program itself. See what expressions you make based on your face affects the program and its parameters, and try to rig accordingly. It's like a game of going back and forth when it comes to rigging VBRIDGER, because you really want to make sure that the model has all the mouth shapes that your client would probably make. You know? Would probably. Giving us some satisfying physics is Aimin Chiyoko, showing off these very glossy eyes. This is literally glowing. I mean, look at it. These eyes are sparkling. Look at the eyeline, like the eyelid too. The glitter even moves around when the eye looks around. It is so stunning. The attention to detail on Live2D models it's growing, it's excelling, and I'm here for it. Like, this is gorgeous. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, why do VTuber eyes like sproing like that? What's the point? What's the deal with that? And honestly, it's because when eyes in anime open and close, they actually change size. It's more of an artistic imitation rather than like, oh, they're just doing it for the Twitter likes. No, it actually does add a lot of extra detail to the eyes. Even on my small models, when I open my eyes super wide, my eyes shoot to being super small, and when I close them, they get a little larger. That's just how it be. Eyes are indeed the windows to the soul. Very, very true. Yeah, the sparkle is gorgeous. I literally spent so long looking at this because like that glitter is stunning. Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so freaking hyped for this one. This is Alcanimate. Oh my gosh, I love their hair physics so much. They are so freaking good. It's so fluid. Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh, I could watch the hair on Alcanimate's models move forever. Forever. It's like the ideal level of swooshiness. Like, it looks like hair. Like, it looks like hair flowing in water or something. Like, the hair is so light and oh, it's just so gorgeous. I love it. Can't get enough. Cannot get enough. Please do check them out. Hold on, take a look one more time. Oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. And we even have a comment from Yoshino asking what techniques they used, and Alcanimate says that they use 8 parameters, each with a lot of adjusting. I am looking forward to seeing more hair rigs and all kinds of other things from Alcanimate because oh my gosh, they are fantastic. Heck yeah. Yeah, 8 parameters for the hair physics. And honestly, I don't blame them, but not gonna lie, seeing this made me have a really crazy idea for pixel art hair, because I'm going to try using what I do for my tails for the hair to get it to look similar to this. So I'm going to be experimenting with it, but this is my reference point. I think using Live2D riggers as points of reference is really, really important, because you don't have to come up with every single concept you do yourself. You don't have to come up with every single style yourself. Sometimes it takes seeing something super cool to be like, okay, I want to do that super cool thing in my own way. And that is how much seeing this hair rig inspired me. Yeah, it's gonna be so cool. I'm so excited. It's been stuck in my brain like the last 2 days. I'm so freaking hyped. Yeah. You wonder how it would affect performance? Honestly, I don't think it will be all that bad, because I've seen some of their VTuber children and their hair moves just as flowy when they're using it for streaming and stuff as it does in these like showcases in the window. So I will say I don't think it like kills the computer or anything, luckily. I have yet to break Live2D or VTube Studio with physics. So that's good. That is good. Giving us some more comfy, flowy physics is Julie, giving us these soft skirt physics. Sometimes I think soft physics go underrated because a lot of people really like big bombastic physics, but it's like, okay, but that doesn't work for every rig. Sometimes you just want a little bit of movement, and this is so soft and subtle. It literally animates like it would if it were normal clothing. Like, it looks so good. I think that studying reference material for physics is super important too. Like, sometimes you just gotta grab a t-shirt and shake it around in the mirror to see how it moves. Next, we've got this Splatoon VTuber model coming from Quentin. It's an Octoling, and it looks so good. I love the physics on the hair. It's so fantastic. Like, if there was a Splatoon model that I needed to see in my life, it was this one, okay? Look at those physics. Oh my gosh. I want to get my own. And you can. I believe their comms, if you're seeing this right now, their comms are still open on VGen, which I'll throw a link for that down in the description too. But yes, very good. This is a very nice half body model. I saw this and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Like, oh, those physics, man. Those physics, they get me every time. They did a phenomenal job with that jiggle. Woo! Not to mention, the art and the head angles are so freaking good. They did such a fantastic job with this model. I love it so much. Great half body model. If you are a Splatoon gamer and want a Splat themed VTuber, please do check them out. Next, we've got a showcase coming from Kevin, showcasing his latest rig. She's got the walk-in, she's got the chibi toggle. There's even a super adorable pet that she's holding. I will not be showing all of the video. If you want to see it, please do check out Kevin on YouTube as well as Twitter. Super great work, phenomenal job, and he's got a bunch of VTuber assets over on his Patreon, so please do check it out. Also, I am pretty sure Kevin uses templates for his VTuber models so that he can rig them more efficiently. I only say this because, one, the physics are very similar for a lot of them, and two, he rigs a lot of models very quickly, and it'd be ridiculous to start everything from scratch completely every single time. Next, we have a mermaid model coming from Red Soda with this beautiful animated toggle between mermaid tail and legs. So freaking pretty. I love this so much. I don't think there's enough sitting VTuber models. Like, there are some, don't get me wrong, but I want to see more. I want to see more. I think there's so much you can do with a model that can sit or has the ability to. Speaking of models with the ability to sit, speaking of models that can sit, we have the latest rig from Brian Sui of Bao's latest model. It is super cute, with her being able to sit on her little Baobul buddy. So adorable. I love it. And the outfit toggle, phenomenal. Super duper cute work, fantastic. Be sure to check out Brian's work. I love it so much. I will say, I'm gonna pause this. I will say, there's one thing I'm sad about, okay? I was praying that Brian would have made an animated showcase for Bao's model because I love his Live2D animation so much. So I was a little sad to see that, like, it's not, animated. It's just, like, done with facial tracking and all of that stuff. It's so good. But, man, I was looking forward to it. Maybe the next Brian model will get a full animation and we can even talk about the way he animates models. But yeah, I love the rendering on this. The artist did a phenomenal job. Hayama Fair did fantastic. Absolutely love. Yeah, they're so adorable. Next, we have this first model versus latest model coming from Diariku herself. I think this is so cool. I'm sorry, but I am literally so mesmerized by the swooshiness of the tail on her new model. My brain cannot wrap itself around how she rigged it. I love it so much. It is so floofy and flowy, and it's so freaking amazing. Sometimes I wish that for her new model, she rigged them live so I could watch the process, but I get it, gotta have your surprises for a chat and everything like that. But yeah, this is a fantastic model. Giving us this showcase of their art and rigging journey is Cozy, showcasing 4 of their different models they've made. The one on the right being the most recent and the one on the left being the oldest they've done. Super duper amazing work. And I absolutely love their rigging and art style. The rendering on the newest model is crazy. Like, that is gorgeous. Gorgeous. We all have our rigging journeys. I wish I could make a video like this of my own models, but I literally don't even have the oldest ones that I've made because they're so old that after my computer wiped, they are basically gone. I wish I could. I should have done something to save them. So if anything, you now know you should save your freaking models somewhere that isn't, you know, save your model somewhere that isn't just in VTube Studio, okay? Because if that shit gets deleted, it's gone forever. So work smarter, not harder, please. And now we will have a Blubbr special. I want to showcase something cool that I worked on because this is my video. So I got commissioned by Leroux to make a VTuber model that can face to the right and left and has a walking animation. And then I got the idea in my head to try and make it so that he can walk around a room. So I utilized the fact that he can already walk and, you know, my knowledge of animations and physics to make it so that when I move my head in like a spatial position, like I lean to the right and lean to the left, his model would walk to the right and to the left. The facial, like the actual turning of the model is based on how much I turn my head to the right and to the left. But I think in the future I'm going to refine this technique and make it so that the model stays static and the background scrolls. But it's going to take me a little while before I get to working on something like that, especially because it will need a lot of complex physics and sliders and things to actually work properly. But yeah, that's something cool I worked on. Be sure to show me what cool stuff you're working on by posting it in the hashtag Live2D tag on Twitter, and I will check it out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed checking out all of these different Live2D things, be sure to subscribe for more and follow all of the Live2D riggers down in the description below. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!